Welcome back to School of Golf. What a pleasure it is to be alongside the 2008 PGA Teacher of the Year, Martin Hall, and the newly crowned 2017 PGA Teacher of the Year, none other than David Leadbetter. David, thanks for joining us today on School of Golf.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Now, we've talked about Nick Faldo, 3 claret jugs. He's not the only Open champion you've influenced by any means, and we're talking men's Open champion. Nick Price, your childhood friend back in Zimbabwe, back when you were both 12. Nick Price had a particular favorite drill. I think you wore out about 3 8-irons together doing that drill. Look at that. That's where he holds that putt at 17 with Squeaky. I mean, one of the iconic moments at the Open Championship, certainly, and I know you're still great friends with Nick. But listen, for the viewers at home, for some people, this drill that you did with Nick is great. So spill the beans, Led. Spill the beans.
Okay, I will.
Let us in on the secrets.
Okay. You know, one of the things that Nick had a tendency to do ever since he was a little guy was to have the club sort of laid off at the top there, and actually he had his wrist slightly bowed. So I suppose if you watch John Rahm now, that's probably something that you should try to promote. But the fact is that Nick always wanted to try to get that left wrist in a little more cupped position at the top, and to get the club coming down on a less than shallow plane, because Nick always used to drop the club way under plane. So we devised a drill for him where we actually got him to preset it just like this, and then simply turn and hit it. And I assure you, he must have, I don't know how many thousands of balls he hit doing that. And it was amazing how it got the club into the proper slot at the top, Martin. That was what it was all about. So when he got the club in the proper slot, there was less of a tendency to get that club stuck behind him and laid off. So it's quite an easy drill. You just sort of set up to it. You just take your normal stance, and then you set up to it. And you can see, so I've got a little angle here. And the big thing is just to turn back and then to maintain that feeling and come through. So it's a good way of not only getting the club position right, but also to help to sustain a little lag coming into the ball. So it's something that people can try. It's like with all these little drills, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but it is worth trying. So I'll just illustrate it here. So I take my setup, preset it here.
And so for someone who is, we're both obsessed with golf. Let's just get that out there. Let's make sure the world know that Leadbetter and all are completely golfaholics. But for someone who is a bit laid off and a bit shut at the top, and they needed to or wanted to correct it, that would be a great drill.
It is a great drill, yeah. And you know, the thing is, it's like, because this is your top of your backswing position minus your turn, really. Yeah. So all you've got to do is complete your turn, and then from here, you know, his was a little bit longer than mine was back in the day, but but the fact is it's really a good position to get into and then feel that you're maintaining that as you come through impact.
Well, it worked rather well for Nick Price, that's for sure.
Definitely. David, we know you work with some other Open champions. Ernie Els, we can't go without talking about him. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys have worked on?
Well, Ernie, look, he's such a natural player. I mean, we tried to make sure we help him maintain his rhythm. I mean, that was the thing that Ernie always had. I mean, it's like, you know, look, that's what he's known for, you know, the big easy.
Definitely.
And I mean, whatever Ernie does, it's always with rhythm. So we were very, very careful not to alter that. But the one thing that Ernie had, especially in the early years, was that the club would sort of get behind him a little bit here, and he'd get the club also, in fact, a little bit laid off, a little differently to Nick.
Okay.
But the club would get laid off. So what we tried to do with Ernie was to try to get everything moving away together here. And the drill that we worked on, which really helped there, Blair, was to actually start forward and then come back. So it really, this is a great drill for a lot of players, because we know so many amateurs, they get into this position. Somebody like an Ernie Els can probably compensate fairly well for it. But and Ernie still works on that. It's amazing, you know, when I see him today.
You always come back to the same things, right?
Yeah, it's amazing how, you know, things pretty much stay the same. So we started from here, work it back, and then it's a great way of getting the club started. So I'll illustrate.
Am I safe here, Led?
You're fine.
You're safe.
I haven't checked one today, Martin. You're fine. So just start forward about maybe, you know, 2.5 feet, and then from here just.
All right.
And you know, it's a great way of starting the swing. And Greg Norman did that actually when I worked with him a little bit. So it's a fantastic
great drill for everyone at home.
Ernie loved it.
Give it a try.
David, thank you so much. Again,
thanks, Martin.
Congratulations. It's a big, big, big award.
Thank you.
And
Well, if you've won, it must be.
well, I don't think we say
Right?
that.
I'm
But,
honored to be with you,
know,
too.
You've done so much for golf, and we all appreciate you. Thank you so
Thanks
very
very much.
Thanks so
Thanks
much,
for being
David.
here.
Thanks for
Dave.
being here with us on
My
School
pleasure.
of Golf. Congratulations once again to David and all the 2017 PGA National Award winners, including Golf Professional of the Year, Daryl Kessner from Deepdale Golf Club, Bill Strasbaugh Award winner John Kennedy, PGA Player Development Award winner Tom Morton, Patriot Award winner Kevin McKinley. Congrats to all three of the PGA Merchandisers of the Year and the Gateway PGA section for winning the Herb Graphics Award.
Now, when we come back on School of Golf, I'll reveal how the wind, yes, the wind affects iron shots and even your putts. It really does. Don't go anywhere.
I love David Leadbetter. I really do. He just cares so much, and he takes care of his players. And you know, when I first started with him, he said, "Give me till end of 2016, and you'll get your win." And actually, this weekend, I told him, "It's 2017, David. What's happening?" I said that to him this week on Tuesday, walking down the fairway. This week he just simplified everything for me. And I told him, I don't care if it's a major, I don't care what it is, I need my swing fixed. And he goes, okay, it's not about fixing it, it's about utilizing what you have and believing and having confidence in the swing that you have. Because when I look at your swing the last 3 months, it's the same, it looks great. You just have to believe in it. And that was it, that was the click. And he's believed in me more than anyone, and I've thanked him for that, and I love the fact that I can call him my coach.
David Leadbetter, welcome to School of Golf.
Thank you, Mark.
Congratulations on yet another major champion, and congratulations, a very big congratulations, on becoming the 2017 PGA National Teacher of the Year. That is a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great to have that honor. I mean, I've been in the PGA for many, many years, and I'm not going to actually say how many years, but it's been a long time, and I'm really excited about the award.
Well, we all know it is well deserved, so congratulations again
Thank
on
you.
PGA National Teacher of the Year. Now, Danielle, major champion, great stuff you did with her last week at Olympia Fields, the other week. Of course, the Open Championship approaches soon. You're headed over there. I'm actually headed over there. It's going to be on NBC. And I think Open Championship, I think David Leadbetter, Sir Nick Faldo, Nick Price, Ernie Els, three winners that you have guided. And I must say, particularly one of the greatest shots I ever saw hit, you were instrumental in. You know which one I'm talking about, don't you?
I do. I remember it well. I was actually right there when Sir Nick hit it. It was the 15th hole at Muirfield, going to the last round, and Nick was actually he was playing well, and then faltered a little bit, and John Cook was a shot ahead. And then on the 15th hole, which was it's a good par 4, but it was into the wind, into a right to left wind. Pin was on the right, and we worked on this particular shot the week prior, because we used to do a lot of things preparing for the following week, whether it be Augusta, whether it be the Open or what have you. And we called it the chicken wing shot, because it was a shot really, I wanted him to be able to hit this left or right shot that could actually hold in a right to left wind. And he had 185 yards. It was a 5-iron, if memory serves me correctly. And he just pulled it off perfectly, hit it to about 3.5 feet.
Well,
really won in the tournament.
It did win in the tournament. It was a fantastic golf shot. And let's have you set up. Let's talk you through, how did you come up with that idea for Nick? Other than obviously, you know, as an experienced, an incredibly experienced coach, the wind blowing from the right, the flag on the right. And for the viewers at home, why would a big push draw out to the right, slinging it back, coming downwind, why would that be no good on that hole?
Well, it's so hard to control a right to left shot and a right to left wind. I mean, you just don't know how hard the wind's going to blow. Because remember, at the Open in particular, I mean, the wind's gusting. So, I mean, all of a sudden the wind could pick up 10 miles an hour and you could miss the green on the left there. So, in effect, when you're trying to hit this left or right shot, it'd probably end up almost a straight shot, because the wind was, you know, pretty strong. And so the thing that we worked with Nick more than anything was to actually hold the face. Now, remember, if you're going to hit a cut shot, you're going to have to make sure that the club is swinging a little from the outside. And the big thing is the club face cannot close on you, and it's like you've got to almost hold the face open relative to the path through impact. And so this chicken wing, which is, I suppose, to some extent, you could look at a Jordan Spieth who hits a lot of his, especially his shorter irons, like that, where the left elbow is sort of floating away from him. Even you go back to Lee Trevino, very similar, a lot of the way they hit the iron. So we called this the chicken wing shot, and basically what it was as he moved through, the big thing we'd really focused on making sure he moved his chest. And you always hear about Sir Nick when he's on TV, you've got to move your chest, you've got to move your chest. That's something we sort of drilled into him for many years. So you move your chest, let the elbow just separate, and that just keeps the club face from closing down. So he was able to be very aggressive. So he probably took, maybe it was a club shorter, probably could have hit a 6-iron, but he hit a 5-iron, 185 yards, and I'll just illustrate how he did it. So he set up just a little bit left here, see where my target is here, and then from here, all he did was make sure he moved through the ball, his left hand was leading, his left elbow would then separate. So here we go.
We'll try that one again.
We'll do that one again.
David, can you do one thing for me, please? Fascinating. I always love spending time with you and listening to you and talking shop with you. Can you just bring the club through here? Just want to make a point for you. Showing me the chicken wing. There was a famous, a little bit more, just about, there was a famous teacher, Paul Berthley, that we both remember, and he would say, at this point in the swing, feed what you need. And you can see at home here, sticking the left elbow, if you are a right-handed golfer, up in the air a bit, sticking the face up in the air a bit. Generally, if you get it just right, it'll hit that soft fade, won't it?
It will do. Yeah, it will. It's it takes a little bit of practice, which I'm not attuned to doing these days. But once you get the feeling of just keep the chest moving, keep the elbow separating, it's quite easy to do.
And that's the one that is going to work beautifully in a right to left win. Now, a question for you. So you worked with Nick on that shot the week before the Open Championship. I'm curious, when you say you worked with, did you hit 5 shots? Did you hit 10? Was it a lot more than that?
We hit quite a few, actually. Yeah, I remember we worked, he actually had his house down near Sunningdale. He had a great practice facility, and we actually worked exclusively on working on this chicken wing shot. It's something he wasn't really used to because Nick had pretty much of a classic finish, if you remember.
Yeah.
And so this shot here really enabled him to sort of be aggressive and never felt that the club face would close. That was the big thing. It was really keeping the club face open relative to the path all the way through the swing.
Yeah, which he certainly did very well.
Yeah, I mean, he pulled it off exactly at the right time. It's all about timing, isn't it, really?
Yes, he did. Now, David, as you look forward next week to the Open Championship, of course, there's 2 other players I want to... Will you come back and talk about 2 other players who have won the Claret Jug, namely Nick Price, your childhood friend, and, of course, Ernie Els, the South African, and give us a few pearls of what you did with them. So, listen, at home, if you're trying to hit a little bit of a fade, if you're trying to hold it off, just as David Leadbetter, 2017 PGA Teacher of the Year, said, give it a bit of wing. Chicken wings are not always bad for you. Right now, it's back over to Blair.